Why is BT rising while alts are dropping? So I think that's our bat symbol in the sky to jump across to Bitcoin. And we're going to do our live chart analysis and bring you our Bitcoin price prediction from the next 7 hours to the next 7 days. So again, time to get your charting pen out, Mr. Demi, as we get ready to do another price prediction.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this so that we can just focus, and I want people to just be able to follow something simple, because if they look at lots of lines, it might confuse people. But you know, we kind of addressed this question. I mean, it's a question that I've got a lot. You know, nobody's got really an answer. Everybody speculates as to why something might happen. And what I can see is that there's a lot more institutional buying happening, according to the sort of on-chain stuff that I look at. And often it's the case, Bitcoin, that, you know, the Bitcoin dominance dropped and now it's back up again. You know, people are moving money from alts into Bitcoin, and then it will shift, or new money will come in as alts get cheaper. So it's just part and parcel of what happens. So I wouldn't think too much of it, and it's not going to last that way. It's just a temporary thing that's happening right now. So let's look at Bitcoin, guys. You know, I'm going to assume that you haven't heard me analyze it before, because I think it will help people looking at this for the first time. So the thing that we want to speak about is there's some key milestones that I needed Bitcoin to break. And I spoke about this when we were down here, when we were doing these shows. We were saying 52,000 is going to be really, really important. Can we break it? Can we break it? And we got there, and then the inevitable pullback happened. But now we have. And if I just kind of, let me just have a little look at the, why is my screen not showing? I don't know why, but for some reason I can't see the colors as well. Is it the same with you? Or is it my lighting here?
Possibly. The volume bars aren't very bright.
Yeah, no, they're not very clear for some reason. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just...
Maybe if you zoom in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Okay. So this is that area here. So if we take, let's mark down very quickly. Let's mark down that sort of 50K ish zone, 52K, which was about there. So this is important, because we spoke 50K was always going to be a key level. And what I wanted to see is, like, if we're going to break this, let's break it on an increase in volume. You know, I want to see strength, and look what it's done. Like, you've got to bear in mind that, you know, when we were speaking before, we were saying, hold on, you know, the bearish volume is stronger around here. There's no buyers coming in. Look at that. Look at this, right? If we're looking at it from this point of view, bearish volume, market's going up a little bit, volume dies, and then bang, market goes down, volume increases again, right? So, and then look at the last time when we had a big run on Bitcoin, see how the market increased, the volume increased over here, and then we did have a nice little push up. So look, we had lots of bearish volume, and then here suddenly the volume starts to increase, which is a good sign, but still not as much as the bearish volume. But again, now even more so. That's the first time we've seen, like, if you just have a look back here, right, this is the volume bar that we've just hit. We haven't had a green volume bar. So if you think about where we are right now, we are essentially here, right, at this stage. The last time we had a green day with high volume like that was here, right, where the price was basically 38,000, and the market went from 38,000 all the way to 52 until we hit this volume again. So this is the first time we've actually seen some volume come into the market, which is a good sign. And why is it a good sign? It's a great sign because it's happened to break a very, very significant level of resistance. So that's why it's also significant. It hasn't happened somewhere randomly. It's actually breaking 50,000, and that's what you need. You need a tank to get through key levels, and that's what's happened. We've got good volume. We've broken through. And what I quite like about this price action is, if you have a look, you know, there's two things that if the market's going up, there's two ways it goes up. So it would go like this, right? So this is called a retracement. But when something's really bullish, what will happen is the market will go up, and it's gone up really fast, but it will just have a rest, what we call consolidation. And if you have a look, we went very quickly from 40 to 41,000, pretty quickly up to 55, 56,000. And then look what's happened. It's had 1, 2, 3, 4 sideways days. And even the weekend, which is really always bearish, right? There's no institutional trade. There's very few of them. And the retail traders or institutions tend to sell on Friday, right? Or over the weekend, they dump their positions. And that hasn't really happened, right? What's happened is the market has basically consolidated, and now it looks like it's going to go higher. So I'm not saying after this, we could have this conversation and then Bitcoin could drop, right, to 50,000, for example, because it's a very volatile asset. But what I'm saying is that the signs right now are that Bitcoin doesn't look like it's going to fake us out anymore. Doesn't look like we're going to go back below 50K at this stage. Doesn't look like it. It could go test 50K. It could do that. It could also go low, of course, but I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting right now that, I don't know in what fashion and whether it's going to retrace that. You have to go kind of on the lower time frames and assess all of that. But it feels like we've got through the worst, and it just feels like the next move is to go attack those all-time highs, break them, and then we'll start heading towards 70, 80K, 90K, that kind of level as the next run. So it's just kind of, I'm just kind of showing you a slightly different approach to just finding some information that's really showing you that actually there's some really bullish signs here. Let's have a little look at the any questions, by the way, Gav. Let me know. I'm just going to have a look at the fibs here as well to get some projections. And does that make sense to everybody? I think it's also an important one.
Let us know, guys. But yeah, everybody's happy so far. So let's continue.
So, okay. Now, here's the current fib cycle we have. So we have the A, B, fast move. Then we have a deep pullback towards here, which is basically the yellow. Yeah, around the 786 there. So let me just zoom in. And by the way, just a little tip for people, because I know somebody's probably thinking it and not asking it. So I'm going to think of the questions as well. Someone might be thinking, but hold on a minute, Andy, look at this big red volume bar there. What about that one? Isn't that bearish? Well, what you have to look at is, look at the bar. That bar is a holding bar. It's a nothing bar. It's basically a consolidation bar. So, and like this one and like this one, what you want to look at is when you have a big whole bar, which is either red, or big whole bar, which is either green, that is above average size, something like this, or 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 this. That's what you want to see as the volume. That's the volume, because otherwise there's been a battle that's gone on here. So we don't know if there's sellers or buyers. You need to go to the lower time frame to kind of really assess that. But in general, like if you've had a really strong bar on higher volume, that's a really good sign. So where are we in terms of the fibs? Well, truth be said, the market is at a point where it's due a retracement, funnily enough. So we spoke about that possible retracement. It is, it kind of got to our yellowish zone, just a little bit higher, and it paused, but it didn't even create a high point. Not the way we define. Is that a high point? I don't think it is. Or maybe it is no, there's a spike high, you just can't see it. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah, so that's not a high point. So we haven't created a high point yet. But like I said, Bitcoin can be parabolic, but it's quite tricky to invest in it right now, in my opinion. It is due a pullback. Now, it could go a little bit higher. For example, the 1618 is quite close. And if you just draw a horizontal line at this 1618, what you'll see as well is that it's quite a nice reactive zone around that kind of 58,000, 58,500. What I'm basically saying is that although I think Bitcoin is going to go higher, if you're not in it at all, do I think it's a good idea to jump in now? No, I don't. I don't think it's a good idea because I think you might be able to get a better price. Now, of course, we may not because this is crypto and we don't know how it's going to move. But by the law of probability, it is due a pullback and we might be able to get it at a better price. So let's say this market does actually is going to pause somewhere here. We can kind of figure out with a few more tools. Let's connect some potential channel resistance here. See if there's anything here. I would actually say that I don't like that one. I think from there is possibly because I'm going to give you a scenario that's a little bit higher. And then this one is a different scenario where it could be potentially, because we connect, the ideal thing is to connect 3 points, which both of these lines do. So one scenario is we stop somewhere here. The second scenario is that we get close to these all-time highs and we spike, and we have another green bar up to here, and then we, and then potentially, and this is where it gets tricky, because if this market is not yet parabolic, you'd probably expect a pullback here somewhere. And in which case you can draw your fibs from say here to here, mark down where the minimum 38.2% is, which is there, and there's your 50, so your 38 is about 52-ish, and then look to buy it there for the move up. Okay, so that would be a normal move. If this market doesn't pause here, and even though it's a strong level, everybody can see that, and it just pushes through here, and then it pauses, I will probably expect something like that, and then another breakup. That's probably what will happen. Because that's showing real strength. Because it's not stopping at the obvious stop points. It's showing a lot of strength, and then so I'd expect it to consolidate and then break higher. So ideally, you want to be in position now. If you're not, I'd focus on trading it more and then just adding in some orders a little bit lower in case the market pulls back.